Hi again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of RV Business Capital Talk, sponsored by Eric Sell. I am Rick Kessler from RV Business. With me, as always, is the coffee drinker, Sherman Goldenberg from RV Business. And joining the two of us today, we have Mary Pouliot. Mary is the Executive Vice President of North America for Thetford, where she also is in charge of, and let me get it right here, Norcold, of course, Nova Cool, and B&B Molders. And Mary is also the brand new chair of the RV Industry Association Board of Directors. Mary, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
As
Glad to be
well
here.
as Craig Kirby. Craig is the president and CEO of the RV Industry Association. Craig, you're not in at the Golden Gate Bridge like Mary, apparently.
No,
But
I'm not.
thank you for signing on today.
Hey, well, thanks for having me again. It's always fun to be with you guys.
Appreciate it. Well, let's start off right away with a kind of a top of the rock discussion on the RV Industry Association's. What's on the agenda? What's your initiatives for 2025? That's a big question with a lot of answers, but let's go.
Well, I can start off on that. I mean, obviously, with the new administration, there are a lot of changes happening at the federal level, and so we're actively involved, meeting with the administration already. Trying to get our priorities in place with the new administration, from the Travel Trailer Tax Parity Act to GSP to de minimis. What's going to happen with tariffs and how could that impact our industry? So getting in front of the right people and telling them our position on that. We do not only do we import a lot of components from China, but think about the trade between the U.S. and Canada and how that could impact with the number of units we ship to Canada. So I think that's really front and foremost here at the beginning. Obviously, CARB with their activities has had a big impact on the industry as well. So there's no shortage of areas for us to pursue. GoRVing has now a new agency, and so we're going to be coming out with a new campaign. One of the things that I'm really excited about, we're going to continue something from last year where we spent a lot of time. We visited, I want to say, 70 different members in person. And our goal is to try to do about the same amount this year. And so I encourage any member who's listening who would like the RVI, a member of the RVI team, to come see their operation, and so we can learn how we can provide better value to the members, and they can get a better understanding of all the resources that we have to offer. To contact anybody on the RVI team, and we can arrange to try to have a meeting.
Okay.
So that's a highlight of just a few. We got the leadership conference coming up real soon that we're excited about. So that's a general overview.
Mary, take it from there. What would you add to that?
Well, I think for me, it's really going to be around, in my new role as the chair, is really focusing on increasing member engagement. Everything Craig talked about requires all of us as members to be involved, around committees, advocacy, boards, subcoms. I mean, there's so much we can do to support the industry and support RVIA and pushing a lot of these things through. So I'm going to spend a lot of time there. Craig and I have talked too about technology and the impact in the industry and what's coming there. We all hear the acronyms, we got AI, EDI, all these different acronyms that are out there. What can we learn from that, and how can it help within the industry, and what can we do to use it to better the industry? But also around the engagement of all the different areas within the industry, so that we're keeping the dealers, the OEMs, the suppliers, and also the campgrounds at the forefront. And all of us continue to work together to hopefully get a lot of Craig's objectives met for the year, because it's up to us to help them.
You go ahead, Sherm. I'm sorry.
Well, they mentioned several things we wanted to take a closer look at, and you had them on a bullet list. Why don't you take that over?
Okay. Well, we certainly, of course, want to talk about CARB. It seems to be one of the very hottest of the hot button issues. But Mary, you were talking about engagement in that. Maybe that's a good segue to talk about the leadership conference that's coming up March 4th through 6th in Phoenix, Arizona. Because that's all about engagement there.
It is super excited. That's one of my favorite conferences. I always go there and learn something new for my leadership tool belt, toolkit. You know, the way I look at it, it's not just for leaders. It's for seasoned leaders. It's for new leaders. It's for upcoming leaders. And just in every day, I mean, we all have something we lead within our own life. I think it's a great opportunity for all of us to learn something, and also for engagement. I mean, it's a place for us to see everybody within the industry and spend some time together, you know, outside of our jobs and enjoying it. So
March
highly
4th,
recommend everybody get involved.
Yeah,
March
it's
4 to
such,
6. Go ahead. I'm sorry,
yeah,
Craig.
I was just going to say it's such a unique event in that we've got all segments of the industry represented. You got manufacturers, suppliers, dealers, campgrounds, and so we're all learning about the challenges and opportunities that we face together, and how we can elevate the industry, because we're all relying on each other, and that really does help industry unity and makes us stronger. But we've got some great keynote speakers. David Epstein, who's a #1 New York Times bestseller. I think it's range wide generalist triumph in a specialized world. Tremendous activities. So, and we got a leadership panel that should be very interesting with Doug Gettard, Jared McGee, and April Klein Carroll. So looking forward to that.
Craig, one of the other, for me anyway, the highlight of that particular conference is the Emerging Leaders Coalition is heavily involved. Can you give us a quick overview of what that coalition is all about and why that's important?
Sure. The coalition is made up of all segments of the industry. And again, it was formed so they could learn about what's happening with manufacturer and supplier personnel can learn what are the dealers facing, what are the campgrounds facing, and developing that network so we can grow together as an industry to take on these outside obstacles we face. We really need to work together on advocacy as a prime example to be on the same page. So the Emerging Leaders Coalition are the ones that actually designed this conference, actually determined who the agenda for the conference, and it's been a huge success. We've had tremendous turnout. I think last year we had around 200 people attend, and so I'm thrilled with the talent of this the future leaders. I mean, the industry is well set with the talent that we see just through this coalition alone.
And that's real quick. People should go to the RVIA website to get more information and to register for the conference, along with the hotel information and so on. Anybody looking to get involved more with the association, the Emerging Leaders is certainly a very good step one for that. Go ahead, Sherm.
One of the most compelling questions at the moment, and Mary touched on it, is what we refer to as CARB, which doesn't mean a lot to the general public or industry public, but it was a huge public gesture that looked to limit in a big way California motorhome sales. Now, what has really become of that? Is that possibly over? Is it done? What's up with that, Craig?
Well, I think you're referring to the Advanced Clean Trucks Act that came out of CARB, and it's in effect. And basically, we have asked for an exemption or a delay of implementation, and CARB hasn't granted us that, at least to this point in time. But basically, it requires the chassis manufacturers to come out with an increasing number of EV chassis. Well, unfortunately, there are no EV chassis. No one makes an EV chassis for motorhomes. And so really the only way to comply with the ACT is for either the chassis manufacturer or the final stage manufacturer to buy CARB credits. And so that's the alternative at this point in time. We've had numerous in-person and Zoom meetings with CARB, and we'll continue to meet with them to see if we can find an alternative path forward. But that's where we are as of today. Now, on top of that, 5 additional states this year have also adopted the ACT. It's my understanding that 3 of the 4 states, though, have already introduced legislation. I think a fourth is about to introduce legislation to delay the implementation of the ACT for 2 years. So that's a positive step, and maybe that would be helpful in working with CARB. And then in 26, I think there are 5 more states that would also follow CARB. So we're working on that front, and something that constantly to try to see if we can move the needle.
Good luck. Fight the good fight.
Jason's team's busy this year.
It just doesn't make sense for our product that there's so few motorhomes overall, and they're driven maybe 2,000 miles a year. So the impact is negligible. And then the real challenge is the infrastructure isn't in place. Motorhomes go to remote rural areas where there's no charging station. So even if you had an EV motorhome, where are you going to take it? So it doesn't make sense, practically speaking, and we're hoping that these states will see the light on that front.
As far as a more central industry issue, go RVing. Seems like there's a lot of activity lately with that. What can you tell us about what is the industry marketing program?
Well, I can tell you that we're coming out with a new demographic survey, which is really exciting, and which gives me a chance to actually plug a upcoming seminar that's going to take place at the Lerner Theater there in Elkhart on February 6th. I believe it's going to be from 9 to 11 a.m., where they're going to talk about the demographic survey. I can give you one little nugget of it from that survey, was that consumers are using their RVs longer. And that's really important, because that's one of the reasons that consumers may leave the lifestyle, is that they find that they're not using it enough. And so now consumers are using it longer. I think it's 30 days a year, where I think that's up about 50% from just 4 years ago. So that's positive. I think there's still a lot more opportunities to use the vehicle more than that. And RVing's always trying to show the multitude of ways that you can take advantage of your RV. I think also it's real exciting because they've hired a new agency, and the plans that, the development of that, I think that they're going to come out with a new campaign, I think the second quarter of this year, and it'll be fun to see the direction they'll take us on for this campaign. So as I said, I encourage everybody to attend that seminar on February 6th. You'll learn a lot about the demographic study and the direction that Go RVing is going.
I might point out that also go to the RVIA website for that, and I believe that is open to members only.
I think that's the case.
Yeah.
That is the case.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what I read as well.
Mary, how about maybe an update from you, perhaps on the RV Technical Institute?
Oh, I mean, we had the CEO forum in the fall, and just a lot of engagement with that group around RVTI, and continuing to recruit and train technicians. It's definitely needed. The industry needs it. We need more technicians. We need more trained technicians. And I know Kurt's really focusing too on programs outside of RVTI. Well, I mean, in conjunction with RVTI, but with high schools. I just saw something recently. Trying to remember where the high school group was. Was it Colorado? I don't remember, Craig. I believe it was, but working with high school groups, working with the college down in Texas, but just really reaching out to a lot of individuals that wouldn't realize that working in the RV industry is a thing. Most high school students probably wouldn't think to work in the industry. I mean, it's not something that it's probably top of mind. So I think the team's doing a great job with working through those opportunities and increasing recruitment within the industry, because we definitely need it. So they got their goals in front of them. They're going to be a busy group as well this year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can get done.
Very good.
Just to echo what Mary's talking about, we've never had a college or a high school actually be an authorized learning partner. that is a really big deal. And as a matter of fact, that high school sent, I want to say, approximately 30 students to the NTP Stag Show. And so they got to see firsthand about the RV industry. That's really positive. We can try to get this next generation and interested in the RV tech, not only being an RV technician, but just in the RV industry as a whole. The other thing that's exciting this year is that they're translating the curriculum in Spanish. And I think that'll open up a lot of doors for us as well.
Very good. Yeah, I remember seeing those students at the expo. And
Yeah.
I don't remember high school students, all of them being over 6'2", 200. They're big kids. Hey, Mary, I thought I might take this in a little bit of a different direction, because obviously one of the things the industry is very aware of is the early results of these spring shows. And Thetford has been at several of them, because we're all looking for a sign that 2025 is going to be better than 2024. What are you hearing? Craig, too, jump in. What are you guys hearing?
I'm hearing, for most people that I've talked to, I think the feeling is positive. I think it's cautious. They're all being cautiously positive, but all the same, it's been positive. I mean, just you and I were at NTP this week, and the energy was great. I mean, a lot of, well attended, high energy, people talking about the industry, what's to come. So, and I've been to several OEMs. I'm just feeling a lot of positivity for the year. So that's great. Like I said, I think people are going to still be cautious, but you know what? That's okay. I'd rather us be cautious than get caught in a situation where we're putting too much or sourcing too much in the industry. But overall, I'm hearing a lot of good things.
Okay. Craig?
Yeah, I'm hearing that, some shows have been pretty good, some just okay. The biggest news that I've heard that I see as a positive is that a number of manufacturers are increasing production. That's a positive sign that we're heading in the right direction. And I would agree with Mary. I would say the sentiment I hear is anywhere from cautiously optimistic to optimistic. So I think we're heading in the right direction. It's just not as fast as anybody would like to see.
Yeah. Sherman, did you have anything else, or should we let him off the hook?
The only other thing on my agenda is something I know that none of us are, with regard to timing, prepared to talk about out loud much yet. But it's the wildfires in Southern California, and the rule that was just passed allowing recreation vehicles, and I'm assuming manufactured housing, to be used as what we want to call FEMA trailers, but that's not what they are. They're emergency housing. And again, it's too early to say a whole bunch. I know that, but the fact of the matter is, this could be a really interesting moment again for the industry to step in where it's needed and be of a huge assistance to a bunch of people in Southern California.
Well, obviously, it's just a terrible tragedy, and
Devastating.
it's amazing how the firefighters and first responders have been. I don't know how long it's been nonstop fighting these fires, and it's just still continued. Yes, there was the news where LA County basically announced that you can have a trailer on your home site for up to 3 years while your home's being rebuilt. That's pretty consistent with what we've seen in the past through FEMA, that's how they operate and help support some of these homeowners that have been displaced. One of the things that we encourage, obviously, is for them to work with local dealers, because the local dealers are there and can service the product if there are issues. And so I know I've had conversations with the California dealers. They're looking to see how they can help support all those individuals, and we stand ready to help with the federal government and the local government to see what we can do to further support them as well.
Yeah.
Very good.
Rick, have we done it?
I think so.
Well, I have one other thing. I have one other thing I'd like to plug, if I could.
Go for it.
And that's also because on February 6th, from 1 to 4, there's going to be a workplace safety seminar. I think this is something very important for the industry. And basically, you'll be able to learn how to implement an effective tiered kind of auditing system that's going to be presented. How to talk about safety within your organization. And there's going to be a Q&A with InSafe, which is the Indiana Department of Labor, to ensure that your workplace meets the highest health and safety standards. And that's something that we always need to keep first and foremost, workplace safety. So I'm excited that we're going to have this seminar here next month.
Well, very good. And with that, I think we should sign off. Mary, Craig, thank you again very much for your time. Always
Thank you.
good to catch
Enjoy
up.
it. Yeah,
Always good to be with
absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Great
All right,
talking
thank
to both
you.
of you. Yep, you take
Thank
care.
you.
All
You
right.
too. Have a great weekend. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.